Friday. I think it's Good Friday, actually. But I got her all done. Just gotta shut the hood, make her look a little bit better. All painted up, railings, frame. Here, we'll do a walk around. Frame is all painted on her. She's serviced. Inside is clean. Cameras are installed. Everything's painted. I Line-X'd the fenders too. I Line-X'd everything, and then I painted John Deere green over it. Now what I'm doing is it's grease tape, they call it. It's like a duct tape type deal. And you cut it to your length, and then you wrap it around all your fittings so the fertilizer doesn't eat it. You can squeeze it tight on there, and it keeps all your fittings from rusting out. So that's the last thing I have to do to it. You see I got the frame all painted, wheels are painted, got the name on there. I'll admit I'm not a professional painter, but I did a good job. Waxed, windows are clean, all the mirrors are adjusted clean, motors painted, everything is done except for wrapping all the fittings. It really saves them because on these machines they get so corroded and rusted. But the guy at TTI told me, he said if you shut the hood real quick, hold on. I want to wish everybody a happy Easter Sunday. We have a dinner to go to at like 2 o'clock today, but I'm going to work on this thing a little bit more and get her finished up. So I just want to tell everybody happy Easter Sunday and hope everybody has a good day. So I have had a hose leaking on it ever so slightly since we got it. And they had pulled it in the shop and said they had fixed the leaks. There was a couple hoses leaking. And, I noticed that once we unloaded it off the trailer and brought it in here, it sat for a couple of days. I started working on it, and right here, I noticed oil was dripping. And it was underneath there, or there's a hose. You can't see, it's dark, but it's way up in there. And it's a hydraulic leak. It's just barely leaking, but when you pay for something and you think they're gonna fix something, then they don't. I guess they fixed a couple hoses that were easy, but that one right there, they didn't want to deal with that one, I guess, where it was kind of up in there. So it's a small leak, but I think it's going to become a worse problem the more I use it. And right now we're going to get ready to start spreading with her, and I can't have her all broke apart. So I'm going to have to just, being they don't want to fix it, I've already talked to the salesman. He asked me if he thought it was my problem or their problem. And I told him, I said, well, all we did was unload it off the truck and backed it in the shop. So I haven't really moved it but 20 feet. And I know it sat down there for a while. So they had to see an oil puddle on the ground down there from it. It just didn't start when we brought it up here like they were kind of insinuating. So it's definitely a hose though up in there somewhere, but it's so hard to get to, you can't get up in there. I guess I got to pull the floor up to do it. So hopefully I can limp through this season, being as the company don't want to stand good for it. And then after the season, pull it in over at John Deere. They're going to probably take the floor out. It's probably it looks like just probably a simple hose. You can't really see up in there good, but I'm sure it's just a simple hose. And they didn't want to deal with it. Of course, their guys are mechanics. They work on crap like this every day. They could have went ahead and took care of it, no problem. Somebody like me, I don't know anything about it, how to do it. So, but now I'll probably have to pay John Deere a buku of money to fix one hose. Because John Deere's high on everything. It's ridiculous. But their mechanics, you know, they should have had that fixed. They should have had it fixed. And this is the problem. It's somewhere up in there. I know there's not good light, but somewhere up in there. But this is the problem when you buy used. Nobody wants to stand good for anything. It should be used field ready. And I know they had to see that leak sitting down on their lot, and they just chose not to fix it and just said, screw it, let him deal with it. And that's what you get when you buy used from people. I mean, other than that, the machine overall seems to be good. There's a couple fittings that eventually are going to have to be replaced, you know, just from the fertilizer. Whoever had it did try to take good care of it, but there's a couple fittings that eventually, hopefully I can get through the season with them. But that just irritates me that the company, I know that thing, I mean, it was leaking day one in here. So I knew it had to be leaking down there. And even though I went and looked at it, the problem when I went and looked at it was thunderstorming. If you look back on the video, it was raining its butt off, so everything was wet. So it's not like you could see a leak somewhere because everything was just totally drenched. And they didn't have any fuel in it. It was blinking, so I could only drive it, you know, 30 yards, and we were worried about the fuel running out. But, you know, and I couldn't see any drips on the ground from leakage because, like I said, it had thunderstormed for a whole day and it was steady raining when we were looking at it. So everything was already wet. But they asked me if they thought it was my problem or their problem. So that's kind of crappy right there. But I don't know. Hopefully I can get through the season with that little leak and then get Deere to pull her in, and they're going to have to fix it. And pull her in and get her done. But everybody knows one leak turns into a big leak. So I just don't want any downtime with her. But what are you gonna do? You know, you got to go spend. If you don't want any problems, you got to go spend $700,000. One of these right here, brand new, is $680,000. So that's what you got to go spend if you don't want any problems. And who in the world? I mean, they've outpriced equipment. I don't even know how these guys are still buying brand new equipment, but I don't know. They're doing it. I can't afford it, but I don't know. That's just very irritating. Very irritating. So they had to see it. I know they did, but that's what you get when you get people that don't care. And then they said they serviced it, and then the fuel filter was steady leaking out, blowing bubbles out. And I pulled it off, and I showed the salesman. So when I pulled it off, they didn't even put the O-ring on the brand new fuel filter, so that's why it was steady leaking fuel out. And the O-ring actually comes in the box with the new filters, and that's what I don't understand. So just probably a horrible mechanic that just don't give a shit down there and said screw it. He didn't feel like dealing with it. So, but that's what you get from places and companies nowadays. So. It's Sunday, Easter Sunday. I'm gonna go ahead and get my parents' grass cut and my grass cut before we do Easter Sunday dinner. And think about this and be disgusted with that one thing. Overall, it's pretty good, but that one issue just is so irritating. All right, see you later.